Hey, welcome to Getting It Done North of 7. My Stihl FS38 trimmer is not running properly. I give it gas, it runs for a bit, and then it just doesn't have any fuel. It stalls, and I notice that the bubble is dry. There's no fuel going through there, so if I pump it a few times, then I get fuel back into the carburetor and it runs just for a short period. I have a suspicion that it is sucking air. There must be a crack somewhere on the fuel line. So I'm going to take the carburetor off and check the fuel line. Now this will work on most other models as well. So first thing we want to do is remove this cover here for the air filter. So you just press here and open this door. And this is your air filter. We're just going to grab that with our nail, give it a pull. And right here you have these two nuts. We have to remove these to remove the carburetor. So we're going to need an 8mm socket to remove this. All right, now that I've removed the nuts, we'll just pull this off of here. And now we have here is our carburetor. We're going to pull on this. So I pull back our carburetor bit, and the throttle cable goes through here, so you just have to bend down and pull that out like that. Easy. So your carburetor is on here. So here's your carburetor. You can pull that off. Now we're just going to pull this part here out of the tank. This part here. So I just pried it out there a bit with the screwdriver, and we can just yank it out of there. And it comes out like this. You can take your whole filter out. Now, if your filter looks very clean like mine, you can reuse this. Don't throw it away. So we're going to remove these fuel lines. There could be a crack here, it could be a crack here, anywhere in here. And we're going to order new fuel lines. There, we just take it apart like that. We're going to put our carburetor here. Make sure nothing gets in here or in your carburetor, and replace the fuel line. And you can remove this as well. You can remove your fuel filter. All we need right here is these new fuel lines. Here I have the new fuel line. So what I did is I went on Amazon, looked it up. I found this kit here. It comes with a new fuel line, new fuel filter, and they even throw in a spark plug. It was like $9, maybe $11 with shipping. So I ordered it, came very next day. So now we're going to go install our new fuel line into the weed eater. So first thing we're going to do, I was going to use my old fuel filters, but since this kit came with a new fuel filter, I'll just use it. So we put our new fuel filter on this end of the line. There we go. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is put the fuel filter and fuel line back into the tank. So we'll just put this inside here. That. And this grommet part has to go into this hole here. So we're just going to put it in there flush, make sure it's in there properly. There, now it's nice and flush in the hole of the fuel tank. Now we're going to put our carburetor back in place. But I want to show you something first. Here is our throttle cable, right? So on the back of this part here, there is this nub here. And it has to go into this hole right here. It has to go in there, so this will fit into there. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure our fuel lines are out of the way as best we can. Make sure they don't get all tangled up in everything you're doing. And then we're going to take our carburetor and we're going to put back in the hole here like this. There, we have our cable back in place where it belongs. See that? So now we're going to carefully just put this part here with this part here into this hole and slide our carburetor onto these two bolts as well. All at the same time. There, we got that part back in place. Now I'm going to carefully get my carburetor onto the bolts. See, the fuel lines, they want to get all tangled up in there. Of course, our black piece popped out. Put it back in place. There we go. We got everything in place now. What I could have did, and if you find troubles, just take some painter's tape and tape your fuel lines down here to the tank temporarily. So now that we have our throttle cable assembly in place, we got our carburetor in place. Now we're going to hook our fuel lines up to where they go on the carburetor. So I think our best bet here would be to hook up our long one first, up here, like that. And then we're going to hook up the bottom one right here. Push it up all the way into place. There we go. Our fuel lines are in place. Everything's where it's supposed to be. So now I have the black cover that goes on here, which that houses your air filter. And I put the two 8mm nuts on. I'm tightening them up now. Somehow I missed that part. I missed making the video for that part. You don't have to go crazy tight on these. All right, now that we have this in place, we can put our air filter back. So it'll only go one way, like this. Make sure it's clean. Now we can put our cover back on. Snap it in place. Now we're good to go. We can put some fuel in here and try it out. We'll have to pump the bulb here quite a few times to get gas back into the carburetor. So like I said, we'll pump it a few times, get the fuel into the bulb. Everyone thinks you just pump really fast, but if you take your time, push it, depress the bulb, let it do its job. It works better that way. Okay, now we're going to try and start it. There, you can see the bulb is full of fuel still. So that was our problem. There was some kind of air leak in the fuel line, and that new fuel line repaired the issue. Fairly simple to do. You can do it yourself. I'll leave a link down in the description below where you can get the kit with the fuel line and have it delivered to your door within a day or two.